Get your credit back in the groove. Get your credit back in the groove. Get your credit back in the groove. Guide you through the process, no way you can lose. You need the credit.
Hey, James with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit groove. One thing you want to ask that credit card company is very, very important, your grace period. You want to know, what is your grace period? You know, everybody don't believe like the Bible says. God's grace is sufficient. Their grace may not be so sufficient. So you want to make sure you're up on that one. And you do not want to be late. I repeat, do not be late. Hey, this is James Dixon with your credit groove of the day. I just want to speak this blessing over you right quick. I pray God's richest blessing on you and your family as your life's journey toward getting your credit back on track and in the groove. Thank you for your time and you have a blessed day. And remember, success leaves clues. Hey family, this is James Dixon again with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit groove. Hey, I just wanted to say real quick, one thing you want to be mindful of is don't close that revolving credit. That will be your credit cards. They carry a pretty good history and also they'll help you build credit even while you pay your regular bills. So instead of using your debit card, try using your credit card. At least you'll be able to use it again. Once you spend the money, you can pay it back. And this revolving, you can use it over and over again. And it'll help your credit score go up. Hey, James here with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit groove. Just a continuation of the credit card offers. Another thing you want to do is you want to ask, does that credit card or that card have a cashback feature? If so, how does it work? You want to see if it's going to benefit you in the long run, okay? The other thing is there an annual fee? You want to ask them, is there an annual fee? And if so, how much is that annual fee? Okay? And the other thing is you want to ask them, what is the late payment fee? Which you don't want to be late because remember, you're building credit. You don't want to be late at all possible. And I'll say a little bit more about that a little bit later, why you don't want to be late. Okay? So, I'm going to speak this blessing over you right quick. I pray God's blessings over you and your family and your life's journey to get your credit back on track and back in the groove. And remember, success leaves clues. Hey, James here from Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit groove. In continuation of the series on the credit card offers, two more things right quick. You want to ask the credit card offer company, what happens if you default? Hopefully you won't, but life does happen. So you just want to ask them, what happens if you default? Will your interest rate increase or will it stay the same? And if so, what will be the new rate? What will your new rate be if you default? Okay, that's what you want to ask them. And what other thing is, what other important information is provided? What else can they tell you that you don't know to ask and they may not be readily accessing to you or giving you or telling you about? So you want to be very inquisitive, you know, because you're going to be the one responsible for that credit card. It may be easy to get, but you want to make sure it's easy to keep because we're talking about revolving credit. Hey, I want to speak this blessing over you right quick. I pray that God's blessings on your life and your family's journey to getting your credit back on track and back in the groove. And remember, success leaves clues. Hey, this is James Dixon with Stevens Wealth Solutions, your credit groove of the day. Did you know that you can also put your child or your teen and let them pay credit as long as your credit is good? You have a revolving credit card, you can put them on there also, and it'll help their credit score when they're 18 or if they're after 18. That will help them establish a healthy credit score. Just something you need to know. And remember, success leaves clues. Hey, James with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit group of the day. Maybe you're not like me, but I have done this before. I had the old card and the new credit card in my wallet at the same time. And unbeknownst to me, I pulled out the old card. It was expired. It was outdated. It was already gone. It was no good anymore. So I was in the aisle getting items. So I did have the new card in my pocket. But guess what? I had not activated it yet. So you don't want to do that. Make sure you're mindful of your expiration date of your old card so you can go ahead and activate your new card. So you don't have to do like I did and apologize for holding the line up in the checking line when you at the cash register with a whole basket full of groceries. Oh, wow. Hey, I just want to remind you so you don't have to feel like I felt. I laughed it off, but I did feel kind of bad. But anyway, something I want to remind you of. Let me play this blessing over you right quick. I thank God for you and your endeavors, your family's journey, on you getting your credit back in the on track and back in the groove. Hey, remember, success leaves clues. Hey, James here with Stevens Wealth Solutions with another credit card tip. Make sure this is going to be a hard one for a lot of people, especially mostly men. I know it was for me. And that's this. I think well, let me not get into that. But anyway, we have the credit card which says my money, I can do what I want. Maybe very true, very true. But if you're going to be successful, you may want to have someone to be accountable to. You may want to give it to a best friend or somebody that you trust. I mean, really, really trust. I know we just said don't give it to a team or a family member, whoever, but significant other, they'll make sure you don't spend nothing. I know if I give my card to my wife, she'll make sure I don't spend a copper penny, which may be in my best interest because there was a time when I was very, 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 very unaccountable and misused money in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Thank God I'm not there anymore. But anyway, just something I want to remind you of. Find someone that you can be accountable to. Remember, your accountability can be your best friend. I always say your accountability is your greatest ability. If you can be humble and vulnerable enough and honest enough and have transparency enough to have someone hold you accountable. I had a friend, we were in a business before together, and she would keep all the money from the business that we made. And I'm telling you, I was never broke, but I couldn't get any money until the next season. I had to prove what I was for, and it had to be legitimate, which really helped me out. So just something I want to pass on to you. Remember, be accountable and spend wisely. Hey, thank you for your time. I pray God's richest blessing over you and your family as your journey and endeavor on to getting your credit back on track and back in the groove. Remember, success leaves clues. Hey, James with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit groove. Remember, while you're working on your credit, you want to be careful and be mindful to keep that revolving credit down. You want to make sure you continue to pay those credit cards down on time. Watch your statement and your reporting date. Very important. And try not to use what you don't need or what you can't pay back before that grace period is up. Very important. If not, what happens is you're working on the other part of the credit report, but then the credit score starts to plummet because the revolving credit is you're overdraft, you're over on your credit card limits. Make sure you keep them down. So while we're working on your credit, you're getting your credit worked on, it'll go and work in unison with what's being done to the rest of your credit report. So remember to keep credit cards down. Very, very important. And this has been James Dixon with your credit guru with Stevens Wealth Solutions. I'd like to say this prayer over you. Pray God's richest blessing on your journey and your endeavor and getting your credit back on track and back in the groove. And remember, success leaves clues. Hey family, James Dixon with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit groove. Remember, you got two types of cards. You got an unsecured card and you have a secured card. Now, be mindful. In the beginning, you're trying to build credit, right? So you start off with those low credit amounts. And from what I'm understanding, okay, it's okay for those low ones in the beginning, maybe 1 or 2 or 3. But after that, you want to amp it up to where you get some, decent amount on your credit cards and this unsecured cards. Maybe the first, second, maybe even the third one, maybe a secured card. But after that, you want to start increasing your credit limit. Maybe you've done everything you're supposed to. So now it's time to upgrade. It's time to level up. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, so the kids say, you want to go ahead and, fix it where you got that good drip. So anyway, something to be mindful of. It's time to move on up now. You've done everything you're supposed to with your credit cards. You've been accountable in the whole 9 yards. So I just want to speak this blessing over you. I pray God's richest blessing over you and your family's endeavor and your journey on getting your credit back on track and in the groove. And remember, success leaves clues. Hey, James with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your credit groove of the day. Remember, when you're going on a trip or you're going out of town, try to, if at all possible, just take the cards that you're going to need. If you got 20 cards, you may not need all 20 cards, which I'm sure you won't. But Take the ones that are pertinent for what you're doing. If you're going on a trip or cruise or just going out of town and just need some gas, whatever, then take your gas card. You want to have a variety of cards also. We'll talk about that a little later in another video. But remember, don't take the cards that you don't need, and the ones that you don't take with you, make sure it's in a safe place, so no one can get access to your cards without your authorization, even if you're not in the vicinity. Make sure nobody but maybe you and your significant other may know who they are, just in case of an emergency. Hey, this is James with Stevens Wealth Solutions with your Credit Groove. I pray God's richest blessings over your life, your journey to getting your credit back on track and back in the groove. And remember, success leaves clues.
Get your credit back in the groove. Get your credit back in the groove. Get your credit back